What's up guys, I'm Charles with Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Today I'm going to show you how to get more grip and replace that old worn out seat cover on your ATV. Installing a new seat cover on your ATV can make your machine look good again, and it's also going to protect that foam underneath. Now, these seat covers are super cheap, so if it's time to do it, just get it done. Another reason you might be replacing your seat cover is, some of the stock seats on the sport quads, they're kind of like a slip and slide, and you want to get a gripper seat cover on there. So whatever your reason is, we're going to show you how to get that done today. Now, some people think this is a pain, but with a few simple steps we're going to show you, the process should be fairly simple, and you're going to be able to make the seat cover look good with no problem. So let's go ahead and get started. To do this job, you're going to use a flat blade screwdriver, needle nose pliers. We have some safety glasses, a heat gun or blow dryer. You're also going to need a staple gun. So you can use the handheld ones, or this one's pneumatic. A cheap $30 pneumatic staple gun is going to be much easier than one of the handheld ones, and it's going to pay for itself by the time you do your second or third seat cover, or if you're helping your friends replace one. Now, to go along with that, you're going to want some 1/4 inch staples. These ones are actually 5/16, but it's going to be close enough. They're going to work just fine. Now, as far as parts go, we've got our gripper seat cover. This one's from Attack. There are several different options on our website, and if you find that your foam is worn out, we have replacement options for foam or complete seats. So this is an SDG complete seat. It's got the gripper seat, some foam on it, and the seat pan. So this is a great option if that's the route you want to go, but if you're just replacing the seat cover, again, these are very inexpensive, so go ahead and pick one up on our website. Okay, the first thing you want to do is get your seat cover out. If it's a sunny day out, it's a good idea to let this lay in the sun for a little bit. Warm it up, let the material relax. But if it's not a sunny day out, what we're going to do is actually take a heat gun to this or a blow dryer. You don't want to get it too hot and actually damage the seat, but you want to warm it up. So we're going to do that after we pull all the staples out of our old seat. This one is off a Yamaha Blaster. And to get all these staples out, we're just going to take a flat blade screwdriver. You can pop one side of the staple up. Typically, I'll go around all the way around, pop one side up, and then remove them with my needle nose pliers. After that, we'll pull the seat cover off. Next, you want to check the seat pan for any cracks or damage. Ours is looking pretty good. You also want to check these edges all the way down. Make sure there's no staples that broke off. If there are any staples that are sticking up slightly, what you want to do is take a ball peen hammer. You can kind of tap those in. Now on the other side, we're going to inspect the foam for any damage. Sometimes you might see little chunks missing. If it's not a lot, sometimes you can actually fix this foam so you can get another piece from somewhere else, cut it up to fit the missing chunk, and then use some duct tape over that and then install your new seat cover. But if anything is excessively damaged with this or the seat pan, again, we have options for replacement foam or a complete seat. Now, since it is cold outside right now for us, we are going to use the heat gun to warm the seat cover up and help it relax a little bit. And again, if you just have a blow dryer, that's going to work. Just make sure you don't get too close. You don't want to damage this. To get the seat cover installed, there's two common methods for ATVs. One of them, you're going to start in the back and work forward. So you lay the seat cover over, put a couple marker staples towards the center of the back, and then you need more marker staples at each corner, working your way forward. So some of these seats, they get really wide, so you want to make sure that you've got some good marker staples in there so everything is centered up throughout the process. And then once you have all your marker staples in, you're going to go back through and you're going to take all the wrinkles out. So you spread the material and then put the staples in between your marker staples to hold it down. The second method is to start from the front and work your way towards the back. That's what we're going to do on this seat because it has more of a square edge in the back. It's not wide, it's pretty consistent all the way through. And with that bend in the front, it's just going to be easier to start right here. So in either case, it's going to be a similar process. All you're doing is working from one end to the other and making sure you get all the wrinkles out as you get this installed. So I'm going to go ahead and set the seat cover in place, starting with the front. So you can see we've got our seat cover centered from side to side right here. So I'm just going to put 2 marker staples in the front, and I'm using the edge of our bench to help us out. That way, you know, if you have this flat, it might stretch the seat cover out, and you don't want to do that. One thing I want to point out while you're installing the staples, wherever you put them, make sure they're not going to be sticking out the other side. So you want to be far enough in or angle the staple down so they don't poke back into the seat cover. Now moving towards the back, we're making sure that we're squared up side to side, which we are. And then you want to pull this cover snug, but you don't want to stretch it too tight. If you stretch it too tight, it's going to pull the top of the seat back, and you don't want that to happen. So we're just going to get this snug and then put a staple here and there. The other thing with this is throughout the process, you might have to remove some staples and readjust the cover as you go to get everything centered up and in the correct spot. So now we're good front to back. We need to make sure we have the cover pulled down side to side. So what I'm going to do is we have all the slack on the top side of this. So I'm going to take both hands and I'm going to pull some of that slack out so it sits flush. And it's okay if there are still some wrinkles in there. We just want to get it pretty close to where we need it right now. So now I'm going to start with one side. We're going to pull this over and put a marker staple in this corner. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So you can see we still have a little bit of slack up here. So now this other corner, I'm going to try to pull some of this material forward. So we've got the cover pretty much where we want it. It's centered side to side, front to back, but we still have a little bit of slack in this curve right here. So I want to bring some of that out. And one thing that's going to help is if I bring this forward, I'm going to remove the 2 marker staples that we initially put in the front. And I'm going to pull this just a little bit forward. And then we're going to start by working down the sides. So we've got the front side stapled down. Now with this, you want your staples at least every inch. And one thing I do want to point out is we have that crease right there. So with these staples only being as long as they are, if you try to go through the material where it's doubled up, it's probably not going to go in far enough. So just be aware of that. Now if I flip this over, you know, it's pretty dang good, but we still have a little bit of slack right here. So the rest of this slack is going to be taken up as we pull down these sides. So just adding those few staples on the side pulled all the slack out of this middle section. So from here, we're just going to make sure everything's tight on the sides and staple all the way down. Now, there's a few more things that I do want to talk about. First thing is the corners. So these corners, they're going to line up pretty good. We're just going to finish it out, put a couple more staples here, but sometimes you're actually going to have to fold the material to make it look nice. So that's what we're going to have to do on these corners towards the front of the seat. So we'll just fold that over and put a staple right on top. So we've got our staples in. We've got a staple at least every inch. We've done a little bit more than that. But other than that, there's 2 more things I want to mention. I should have mentioned this earlier, but sometimes you have latches that kind of get in the way of the side of the seat cover to install it. So if that happens with you, a lot of times you can just use a wrench and remove the lever itself. The other thing, if you have a lot of extra material that covers anything up, like on the front of this seat, we have these hooks. We need to make sure that we don't have any material around there. So we're going to trim around this using our razor blade and cut off the excess material. The one thing to keep in mind with that is you do want maybe about a 1/2 inch past the staples left behind, and that way it doesn't just pull through. And I know I said razor blade, but scissors are going to get the job done too. They're actually probably a little bit easier and safer. The last thing you want to do is reinstall the seat onto your ATV and make sure you cut out the material in the correct spots. And that's all there is to installing a brand new seat cover on your ATV. If you need the seat cover or any other parts for your machine, you can find those on our website. We have a lot of different options for you on there. And make sure you subscribe to our channel for more helpful content. And if you have any questions about that install process, leave those down in the comments below. I'm Charles with Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Thanks for watching.